Hello and welcome to the Blossoming Unity podcast. We are Dennis and Nicole, and we are here to introduce you into the conversation about different spiritual perceptions, techniques, and methodologies in order for you to have inspiration for your day-to-day life. Hello and welcome, everybody. Hello, Nicole. I hope everyone's week was absolutely wonderful. I hope you're feeling this very transformative energy because it has been intense. Recognize you don't need to carry the burdens that you have gathered along your journey and that you don't have to do it all alone. You can call on the ones who are consciously aware and who invoke change and expansion within you because we are here. We are oneness.
That could be an ad. That was really good. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, tell me, how has your week been?
Oh, it's been great.
I
So
know.
great.
Is that so?
It is. You reach a point in your daily practice when you have to start switching things up. And I'm in that point where I'm switching things up, baby. I am switching things up.
How do you mean switching things up?
So you go into these deepness of this unity within, and when you're balancing that divine feminine within you and the divine masculine within you, and sometimes you have to take a break with the divine feminine, and you have to focus on your divine masculine only. And you're focusing on your divine masculine, and then your divine feminine gets neglected within you, and then you have to focus on your divine feminine, and you have to play this back and forth, and then you just find this technique where you're focusing on both at once, and they're both getting exactly what they need, and they're embracing each other, and it becomes almost this universal oneness energy. And when you spend more time there, when you spend more time, um, just watching and observing and feeling the emotions as they arise and seeing the thoughts as they dance in the mind. There was this beautiful thing actually that really brought this awareness. So I was deep in this, really observant awareness, and I was watching the mind. And when I was looking at the mind, it was, well, none of these thoughts truly exist. So what is actually there? There's just space. So the question came to me while I was in this deep meditation. It was, well, if I'm creating these thoughts, right? If I'm the one that's observing the sensations in the body, if I'm the one observing the thoughts, and deep down, I'm the one that's giving the energy for these thoughts to repeat themselves, right? To continue on their whatever. That means I can create what happens in the mind too. So I don't have to create past images constantly fluctuating. I can also create the distance of being able to witness the spaciousness, of being able to see the spaciousness as the mind. And there's this really beautiful thing that happened when I did that. It was it was then when things arose, it was like a hello. It's been a while. It was no longer, well, I just need to ignore it. I need to just, because most of the time when I say ignore, I use that word in a way of I'm not going to allow the thought to identify. I'm not going to identify with the thought. Or when I say ignore the emotion as it arises, everything's allowed to be there. It's not a pushing away. It's not neglectful, but it's having an awareness where you recognize I'm not it. Then it's come to the point where there's a joy when a thought arises, and it's like, hey, and it could be a thought that possibly would have been stressful, or something that would have been, a hit with an identity or anything of that nature. And it's just like, hello, it's been, I've been in nothingness. Hello, creation. Nice to see you. And I noticed how that started reflecting in my day to day. right? Now when I'm making my bed, which I've always made it a practice to do these things, being aware as you make your bed, being aware as you do your dishes, being aware as you do these day-to-day activities, the small things,
Masculine.
the small things, because you don't want to wait for some, major thing to arise and you're just like, shit, I have no awareness. I'm deeply unconscious now. Thank you. But now it's turned into such a joy to make the bed. It's turned in, whereas before it was joyful, yes, but there was it was different. It was I don't know about you, but it gets to a point where you do the same practice over and over again, and you're very aware of the practice that you're doing. But then the practice at some point, it's like you get this feeling where and something needs to shift. You almost get to the point where, well, I've been doing this practice for so long, I'm not seeing any fruits. I've done the labor, but I also understand that it's not about the fruits, it's about the labor, and the fruits are a byproduct, but I'm not seeing the fucking fruits. What's going on here? And then it all started arising. And that's why I started making these shifts. It was, I don't really care about the fruits too much. I'm going to continue to do this because it keeps this awareness. I'm actively aware. I am actively being here and not active at the same time. And now the joy that I feel when I arise and my eyes open and I get to make my bed, or I get to walk across the hall, or just these opening a door, there's just such a joy. It's like I get to use this body as an instrument. I get to use this mind as an instrument. And if you would have told me, 12 years ago, when I started my journey, that I would be happy about making a fucking bed, I'd have laughed in your face and felt such a joy from it, and felt such a joy from just walking. And to some, it's, when I say that, it is just walking, but there's so much that goes into that very action of just walking.
Mm.
All the senses, all the subtle energies, the dimensions, and the everything that has to go right for that to even exist, that the wind has to blow at a particular moment in miles per hour, and the sun has to come out on time, and all of these things. The ladybug that was on that sunflower had to leave at that particular time for that action to occur. So it's, just kind of like the butterfly effect. But when you really put it in that perspective and you see the vastness and that wonder just arises, like, it's such a joy. It's such a joy. And the fruit isn't something that's physical that you can walk around with. The fruit is you. You're the fruit.
You're not human, you're a fruit. You heard it first in the Blossoming Unity podcast.
It's so great. I love it. That's amazing.
It is. I fully agree with you. I think it's really beautiful. Like everything you speak about is it's so interesting to see how masculine this practice is. You really, I think you really reached a point where you're, holding space or just sitting in meditation is a very masculine practice.
Mm,
Like if any of you at home are think that you have a lack of structure of masculine things like holding space, or um like if you also feel you're not creative enough, like um what you can do is like really amplify your masculine practice, like, and sitting in meditation and like training your awareness is the purest form of masculine practice. it's a very masculine energy. It has nothing to do with the feminine Nadi Shakti chaos energy. So, um, and you really put it like your how you trained your mind body really is amazing to see, because the depth that you speak about of the experience, like even feeling the information from the muscles going to the brain while you walk, and then that, even that sparks the joy, and joy is like endorphins, and you know, like also being in contact with the physical components of the body while like opening the door or while making the bed in peace, like that is just like so beautiful to see. I think from a feminine perspective, from a female body perspective, um it's the change up of a daily practice. It needs it, for me at least, because I'm feminine identified as physical, but I'm also very feminine in essence. I, from my experience, like there are feminine, like there are women, born women, which identify in essence more masculine, and there are men which identify in essence more feminine. But you are a man identified in essence very masculine. You're I that's my feeling, by the way, if you feel that I'm wrong, but your essence is very, very masculine, and now you have this masculine practice, and my essence is very feminine. So my daily practice needs to be, um of course, I make my bed every morning, and I do that very consciously, and because that's discipline for me. I had to put in the discipline to, for certain things to happen, to occur. And but my daily practice in terms of yoga and meditation is more fluent. It has a 40-day thing, because that's what we do in Kundalini yoga. We do things at least for 40 days. So that's what it has. But apart from that, it's much more, it needs to be much more in flow. I need to, for example, I need to react on the needs of my physical body a lot. Because the female body has, it's very simple. A masculine body has one moon center, where the female body has 14 moon centers. So way more. So the connection to the planets, the cycles that a female body is underlying are completely different ones than masculine. So my my daily practice, the change of my daily practice is important, and it contains more female things to do, I think.
Mm.
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that I notice when it comes to making the bed is, and with the folding the clothes, and doing the dishes and these things that I do, and making sure that, when I decided that, so for me it was, um when I gave myself away. I remember when I was in the dark night of the soul, I had looked finally at the universe. I said, what do you want to birth through me? I give myself away. I'm just a little me, oh me. The psychological me is not me, and I don't care about it. So I give myself to whatever needs to be done. So I had to make the lifestyle change. The spiritual isn't like, for me, spirituality is life. It's it's all of it. It's everything that there is. And it was a whole lifestyle change had to happen. And what I started noticing is, at the times when I would leave my bed un unfolded or undone,
Mhm.
when I got into that bed at night, that
Ugh,
energy was so off.
yeah, I know.
When I wasn't aware, when I make my bed, that energy was still off. But when I'm aware and I'm making the bed and I'm there and I'm bringing presence and attention to it, it's almost, when you bring attention to anything, it's seeing its reflection through you.
Yeah.
So as I'm sweeping the floor, as I'm taking that walk, and I put me to the side, and I just let everything experience itself. And I notice the difference in how the energy feels throughout the house as well as when you're setting up new rooms or changing up the energy is, oh, this seems like I can just put this book on the shelf really quick. I need to get on to the next thing. But when you pick that book up and you bring your attention and you put that book on the shelf, and I'm not saying, you don't have to be slow and be present. You can be very active and present, but just that little bit of attention when I have the time to be very uh, because it's fun. I like to go really, really slow with things sometimes. But when there's times when I need to activate because I've been so slow for so often, and obviously it goes into the fuel that I put into the body, the way that I breathe, the other life forces that I'm taking into the body, and the reserves that I have. But the energy is always there. It's always there. It can pop off at any moment, and I can consciously choose to pop it off. It's not just oh, I have energy today, and then tomorrow it's, oh, I have no energy.
Mm.
It's always a choice. But the main point that I was making was the energy changes when you bring that attention. And that was one of the biggest things for me. And I never really looked at it as a discipline. And now I can see, like, from the outside, it can't that's a discipline. It's a discipline. But it was really always about the energy for me. It's always about the sensitivity that I've allowed this body to get to,
Mm.
that I'm feeling it, I'm sensing it. And my sensory body is quite outside of the actual body, but I can feel the energy from a mile away. And that those little practices of bringing attention to the little things that you do throughout the day can have a major impact on the totality of your life.
Totally. I wanted to write something down, but none of the pens work. It doesn't work.
What was it that you wanted to write down? You want to share with the class?
Mm, I always try to summarize our talk in the description of the video.
Ah,
Of the, and because what we do is not planned, it's channeled. I would have to look at the podcast again because I don't know what we talked about. Like, that's how it is.
yeah, sometimes you have to go back and you have
No,
to
I
watch the
never know
episode.
what we, when Bettina asked me, like, so what was the podcast today about? I don't know. We just spoke. Uh, Every whatever wanted to come through came through. Like, I have no clue what I talked about.
Mm,
So I have to write things down in order then to not lose time and look the whole podcast again.
yes.
That's what I do. But I feel to speak about the in a yogic how we think of thought in a yogic science, because you said, like, I think it was really beautiful what you said. You said, like, there is nothingness and then there's creation, and how you said that thoughts are not really true, like not really existing. And I think it's really interesting to see how, depending on the dimension that you live in, and depending on your consciousness that you are able to hold, um, certain different realities are true. You know, for you it's true that the thoughts do not exist, and in yogic science we say, or they say, or we, I don't know, they say, they said, they wrote down at the time 5,000, 6,000 years ago, that whenever you blink your eye, you're downloading from the universe 1,000 thoughts into your subconscious landscape, and those 1,000 thoughts can be interpreted in the positive mind or in the negative mind. So you have 2,000 options of thought whenever you're blink an eye. And depending on where you live in your subconscious landscape, the vibrational quality of the thoughts you're downloading is higher or lower. And depending on that, um, you then have behavior patterns, belief systems, emotional damage. I can't say this word anymore without that. It's so funny. Sorry, that was random. Oh, that's so funny. And so in yogic science, the reason why we do yoga and the reason why we do the for example the addiction meditation is we know that not every person on this planet has a consciousness like you have it. Like the place that you are coming from is basically the difference between om, the mantra om, that's nothingness, and the mantra ong, that's what we use in kundalini yoga, that's matter that moves. So om is nothingness. We say the mantra om is the sound before creation. It's the sound of nothingness. So if you want to attract nothing, you chant Om. If you are a householder and you need money, cars, mobile phones, and shit, you should not chant Om. It's not ideal because what you're attracting is nothing. And it's really ideal if you live in a cave in the mountains in India, chanting Om does it for you. Maybe if you live in a city somewhere in the Western Hemisphere of Europe or the United States or somewhere in Australia, and you need shit, then you should not chant Om. It's not ideal, really not. You should chant Om, because Om is matter that moves. They say there was the nothingness and then the Big Bang happened. Dennis is downloading data. There's nothingness, Om, and then the Big Bang happened, and that was Om. That was the sound of matter that moves. So if you want to move matter on planet Earth, if you want to move chi energy, if you want to move something, if you want to create, if you want to do, then Ong is the sound you want to chant. And interesting enough, so that's where Dennis, like when you speak, this is where you're coming from. This is the vibrational field that you're in when you say there is no thought. That's true. In Om, there is no thought. There's nothing, and thought is not even a vibrational creation. But for most of us other people, thought is very real, and can even be like when you're starting to be more sensitive, and when you're going more into your daily practice, and when you become more aware, and when you become more empty, then what you can feel is that thoughts are vibrations. A thought pattern is a vibrational pattern, and that is very real. And vibrational patterns of thought can even be like, they can be transported to you via another person. So that's like when you think of someone, and then this person like calls you like 5 minutes later. That's when your thought of that person arrived in your pineal gland, and you're like, you understood that thought and the vibrational essence of the soul of the person arrives in your system. And that's how telepathy
Telepathy.
telepathy
Mm.
telepathy works. And that's what children do a lot. Like a lot of children communicate telepathically. That was right.
Mhm.
Uh-huh. And so that's how it works. So every person has its very own unique vibrational description, like the essence, and then the thought, and they're mingling together, and then they're coming into your pineal gland, which is in the center of your brain. And then you can detect, oh, that was that person, and that person wanted to say this. That's what happens. And Or for example, they say, I don't know if that's true, but they say the governments and the military use vibrational thoughts to steer their audience into a certain direction. And I think that's really interesting with radio. They do that with radio, radio waves. And I mean, the possibility is given. Like, we know that it's possible if you work with ultrasound. You can, like, it's a way of making people go nuts. If you want to, you could do that. Like, there are many options. So thought is not only a thought, it's also vibration. And the moment you're able and capable of like disconnecting, dissociating from what arises within you, that would be like a very good first step for a spiritual practice.
Disidentifying would be a better word.
Okay,
There's a
disidentify, then disidentify. Dissociate.
disassociation. It kind of just makes it you're not consciously doing it.
Oh, in trauma therapy, we speak about associated memory and dissociated memory in a very conscious way. That's why I use this word. But yeah,
Hmm.
disidentifying is also amazing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Do you
There's
want to
just
share that one?
there's just nothing.
Yeah. So I think everyone but Dennis, don't feel bad if you're not there yet. It's okay.
I have a story.
Oh yeah, share it.
So let's say you're extremely hungry and you see this restaurant and it's one of your favorite restaurants to go to, but you haven't been there in a while, so it's it comes to you and you really need to get in there and you really want to go into this restaurant. As soon as you get to the door, the restaurant is packed full of people. I mean, it is so packed full of people, they are recycling air at this point, where you couldn't fit anything in this building whatsoever at all. You can't fit a chair, you can't fit a pen, or even whatever, a credit card. It's so packed. That's a lot like
I like where that's going.
when you're really identified with stuff. You're jam packed full of stuff.
Mm.
So when you start disidentifying, a person walks out of the restaurant, you show them the way because you're able to see from the spaciousness of being able to see that building is fully packed. You're coming from the nothingness to be able to create that spaciousness.
Mm.
And you start showing the identifications a way out the door. Hey, you're all stuck in here, but you can walk out this way. They were all worried and stressed while they were in the building. They thought that the world was going to end.
Mm.
Though some of them had really good intentions, their intention was very pure. But what is
Still in the building.
exactly suffocating?
Mm.
A great thing is what tastes good today may poison you tomorrow. So you start helping all these identifications, all these people out of this building, and they start all coming out. And then finally, all the people go out, and you look at the building, and it's just full of space. And there's this moment when you take a break and you go, I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah, because the cook left the building. difficult to eat when there's no cook.
There was never a reason. It's like when you do all the practices that you do and you do all the work that you do, there's a moment when you touch a space that is like you didn't have to do anything at all.
Hmm. Yeah. And there's also this option to invite someone into the empty space. For example, the cook. Like it could be that you figure out, oh, I actually wanted to come here for that pasta, but the cook is not there. So you could go outside and like, hello, dear cook, would you cook me this pasta? And then you invite him in.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah.
could even invite in a servant if you wanted to. Like, and you could find a bottle of wine within you if you wanted to. Like, but then the space is empty enough so you can start to consciously say, oh, I want to have this quality or this thought pattern or this um, behavior pattern or this um, emotion. I want to experience that. And then you consciously invite it in. And but that's only possible to consciously experience something when it's empty enough. How do you want to experience joyfulness or joy? Like Dennis said in the beginning of our podcast, he said, I even feel joy when I just open the door or I walk. The ability to experience joy within your physical body as the restaurant is only there in its purity, in its most pure essence when the restaurant is empty and there's only joy there. So you can like really interact with that sensation and you could like let it uh, percolate in your body. Is that the right word? Even I don't know. Flow in your body. So
Are any of these words right words?
we don't know, especially I don't know because it's not my mother tongue. So you have to decide if people understand what I want to say.
Yeah, we should put a disclaimer on our podcast now too as well.
Yeah,
Like
we should do that.
Nicole's mother tongue isn't
This was
English.
German. She's not English. That's why she's constantly looking for words.
Oh.
She's not stupid. She's just not English speaking. Yeah,
Okay.
that might be that people think like, oh my God, why is she constantly looking for words? That would
Yeah,
be so
that's
funny.
it. I don't think we've ever announced that on the podcast either.
No, we did never. That's true. People must think I'm so stupid. That's so funny. Oh my God. Okay, so my mother language was German and then French and then English. So just to be very clear on that.
Yeah, English is last.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, for looking for words sometimes. Oh.
See, the funny thing about English is you have to pick particular words in particular sequences as well.
Yeah, that's with every language. Like I
Go
can
ahead.
tell. Certain words don't work with certain situations. It's just like even though the word means the same, it doesn't work in that particular sentence. That's like in
And the
every.
tone.
Mm,
If we have one word, you can have one word in the English language, and depending on your tone, it means multiple different things.
yeah.
Like shit. You can say shit.
Oh yeah.
Shit.
There's this
Shit.
video. Oh, there's this video of that guy. He's a comic, and he's where is he from? I think he's from Ireland. And he explains, he came to America and he explains to the Irish people how many variations of shit there is.
Mm-hmm. You can just be shitting all day.
It's my favorite video. I find it so funny.
You shit all day and all different types of
Yeah.
shits.
Hmm. Like he explains, like if you're really tall, then you would say shit, you're tall.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he like
Or tall as shit.
yeah,
You are tall
also,
as shit, or
yeah,
you're short as shit.
yeah. And then he says, but that has nothing to do with your actual shit.
No, nothing.
It's so
Or
funny.
you're cute as shit.
Yeah.
You like you can put as shit to anything. And also like when you say the word shit in itself, like when you say like shit, like you didn't expect something to happen and it did. You know, you could be like shit. Like that, like just in the way that you
Yeah.
pronounce it, in the tone of saying that only that
Totally.
one word
But
is a
that works
completely
in
different.
every language. You can do that in German as well, in French as well. That like the pronunciation and the tonality of a word includes the communication.
Hmm.
That, like in every language. Like I've learned a couple of it, and that's everywhere the same.
So is that why when I speak to some people who are from a different country and I speak some of their tongue, they're like, "Oh, you have an accent, like an English person accent," because I'm not using the tone in which a particular word should be used for per se
No,
conversation or
because you have
sentence.
no, because you have an accent.
Oh,
You know, the tonality of Swiss German. If I would speak English in the accent, in the tonality of Swiss German,
can you give an
I would
example?
I would speak like this with you. The Swiss German is a very funny language, and we have this sing sang to Swiss German, and then we have this way of speaking with you. And usually, people in Switzerland, they would talk like this. And then they would tell you that you can do whatever you want to do. You can come or go. Like, this is how we speak here in Switzerland, you know?
Hmm.
Like, and when I do the same in French, like if a French person speaks English, she would speak like this because she's always at the end of each because when a French person speaks to you, she would be like, tu vois, c'est comme ça, on fait pas, tu vois. It has, every language has its very specific sing sang.
Right,
And
the rhythmic flow of
the
how they.
rhythmic flow of the language, but also it has almost like a pattern.
Hmm.
And the Italians, like when you go to Italy, and they speak English with you, they say, Nicole, come here, let's play some beach tennis. Because that's their sing sang in the Italian language, in the French language, in the German language.
Hmm.
And so what they're doing is they're just exchanging the German words or the French words or the Italian words to English words, but they never change their thought pattern rhythms. That's why certain countries have certain kind of thought patterns they're downloading, and the whole country is collectively downloading very similar thought patterns because it is linked to the sing sang of the language. That's why a lot of people that speak multiple languages have kind of multiple personalities in their language. I'm a completely different person when I speak French, when I speak English, when I speak Swiss German, when I speak German. It's like, and it feels different even because when you speak a language properly, you're adapting the sing sang as well.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
And that's the beauty of, like, I think when people are like, oh my God, you speak so many languages. Um, the cool thing about speaking other languages is you have to adapt your thought patterns, and your, like, even how you address where the verbs are in the sentences. And different languages have different placements of the pronouns and the verbs, and so wherever you place them, that's also a type of thought pattern that
Mm.
occurs in that society. So
Mm.
I love, like, I could speak about that for days. Like, I analyzed so much of that when I used to live in Paris, for example. Like, when they speak about the French way, Emily in Paris. It's a Netflix series. It's
No.
it's very, yeah. It's a Netflix series, and it's a girl from the States that works in Paris. She's sent to Paris to work there. And
Mm.
so fascinating, because it's very simply made, but it really shows the difference between French and English thought patterns. It's very interesting.
Mm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we were good today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you happy?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you happy? Also, when you said this this really funny thought just came into my head when you were speaking, because you had made the point when you said when you're you can speak multiple languages. You almost have like multiple personalities.
Yeah, you do.
And when you said some people look at you and go, "Oh my gosh, you speak so many languages." When you said that, what popped in my head was, "Oh my God, you have so many personalities." And
Yeah.
it's like, for me, when I think of that, because within my spiritual practice, it's almost like the letting go of the personality, right? And all of that. Like, I instantly think of a straitjacket, and I'm not saying like with personality, because personality, I just see how collectively insane it is.
Yeah, it is.
And
That's true. And you have to, like, it's also really interesting from, like, how to get clients, how to, when you're speaking multiple languages and you work not in your mother language, that does something to you.
mm,
It's very fascinating.
oh, and then if you have clients that you're working with, like let's say you have clients that you're working with in Paris, and then you have clients that you're working with in Switzerland,
In Australia and in
and
different
then
countries.
right, and you're jumping from client to
And it's
client.
very difficult to have a vibrational truth that you're sending out over social media, over, like, in what language. Like, I chose English because I think I want to work internationally. But interesting enough, most of my clients are Swiss German
Mm,
at the moment. But I had a time where I had only international clients. So it really, like, it attracts different type of people in different type of languages. And it's, yeah, I could, like we could do a whole podcast just on languages,
I think,
identifications,
yeah,
personalities, and then the past lives of those languages. I spoke
right.
English way before I had English in school. When I learn a new language, I have the new language like this because I had so many incarnations in different countries, and they are so wildly active. They were, at least at the time. So they just came in very naturally. That's why languages is like the easiest thing for me. I can, like, when I was in Turkey last year, I spoke my little Turkish, or in Arabic as well. I speak a little bit of Arabic. I would not say I speak the language because I cannot, like, speak it like I speak to you now, but, like, to say hi and thank you and can I please have a water and something to eat, and, like, I get everything I need. But it's very interesting, like, how many incarnations I have found in those languages, and how they come back, and then how they are projected through my physical body.
Mm.
Like, we should do a podcast on that.
We should, because we look at some countries and like
Yeah,
they
we
have
have to.
thousands upon thousands of tongues
The
in
next
the same country.
Yes, the next week podcast will be about languages, cultures, uh,
Personalities.
personalities. We
Yeah.
do that.
And we could talk about like the the being able to recognize, okay, this is a personality that I have to use whenever I'm
Yes.
interacting with the world, but is it something that I need to hold on to when I'm
Yes.
alone? And just
Yes.
we can just go all the way
Oh
into
yeah,
it.
we have to go down that rabbit hole. If you guys have questions, or if you have like experiences that you made on your own, and you wanna let us know, just drop us a DM. I would love to hear that.
Yes.
All right.
Or you can also what is it? Yeah, just shoot us a DM.
Yeah. Yeah. We do the other thing another time. Yes. We should do an Insta live for that, maybe. That would be interesting.
We could.
Yes.
But see, the thing is,
After
all
the
right,
podcast.
so we are in two different time zones,
Yeah.
major, on
Yeah.
different parts of the world. So when we're recording, it is very much nighttime here and it's very much daytime there. So we would have to align our lives whenever we choose to go live together.
Yeah, we could do your noon, my 6 p.m., or your 3 p.m., my 9 p.m.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
we could do that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
you guys.
Perfect.
Thanks for listening. That was really good.
Love you. Have a
Love
beautiful
you
week.
very much, and talk to you next week about,
Also, check out the tarot
yeah,
for this week.
check
Big,
out the
big Aries energy.
115,000 videos on Alley Vision.
Yes. Go check out Alley Vision. Check out the magazine. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to My Alley. It's a great platform to help you
Yeah,
breathe, to help you do yoga, to help you become aware, to help better your life.
totally. Thanks, guys. Bye bye.